We are 1 week away from Secret of the Mimic, a FNAF game that might change everything for the franchise. This could be as big as Security Breach was for this franchise, and it's something I'm so excited for. And although for a while there, the game was seeming like secret of the marketing with how little information we were getting, a lot of information came out very quickly in the form of teasers, trailers, and images. So it's definitely easy to get lost in the confusion. So I thought right about now, the most helpful video I can make in the lead up to Secret of the Mimic is sort of a roundup of all the information we've gotten for this game in the lead up to it, starting all the way back from the teaser last year to as recently as Mimic Monday and the MARIOKART commercials. Because in case you missed it, Steel Wool has been posting. The marketing is a secret no more. Slices, put on your aprons and let's bake ourselves a theory. Closing in on about 10 months ago, we got the first news for Secret of the Mimic ever, in the middle of the FNAF anniversary week last year in August. And what we got was this teaser, which showed a patterned carpet panning up to some music box, with the Marionette's music box theme playing, until eventually this animatronic poked its head out. We then got the date 1979 as the film burned, and we saw the title, Secret of the Mimic. So we had a feeling that this character coming out of the box was, in fact, the Mimic, likely from 1979, a character that was just revealed the year before in the Security Breach DLC, Ruin. Now, he isn't quite new, especially if you'd been reading the books, because you would have known about this character not only from Ruin, but several Tales from the Pizzaplex stories before then, but I'll save all of the lore we already knew about the Mimic for my video next week. Because yes, the game itself comes out on Friday, so as much as I want my everything about Secret of the Mimic video to come out the day the game comes out, I am human and I won't be playing the game early. I want to play it live with everybody else the moment it comes out. So because of that, next Friday, the video I'm going to put out is actually a lore recap for the Mimic. Sort of a, if you're confused or new, watch this before playing Secret of the Mimic to fully appreciate the game kind of video. And then we'll be playing the game live on this channel and at twitch.tv/rytoastyt, and once I get all the endings, I'll end the stream and make my everything about Secret of the Mimic video. And then we'll, do videos from then on. But that video will just come out as soon as it can, likely Sunday or Monday. Anyway, back to the news we've gotten about this game. About a month after the initial teaser at PAX West, Steel Wool had a massive booth for the 10th anniversary of FNAF, and included in that booth were several posters featuring characters we've never seen before, and a playable demo of Secret of the Mimic. I keep saying we, but I wasn't there. I could not make it to PAX West on such a short notice. However, we got a lot of first-hand accounts of what the demo was about. According to pretty much everybody who played it, players mentioned walking through some old toy/costume warehouse until eventually coming across that box from the teaser from an animatronic we now know is named Jackie. Once they found Jackie's box, they took the crank away and used it to open a nearby door to then go into a puzzle-adjacent room. When in that room, Jackie eventually breaks in and begins to give chase, breaking herself from her box and only having an upper half. Eventually, the chase ends, and so does the demo. More and more of this info started lining up with several stories from Tales of the Pizzaplex, namely The Mimic, in which the creator of The Mimic worked and lived in an old warehouse. Man, this bar is gonna take forever to fill. At this point, I hope it does it all. Huh, what's this? A sponsorship. Today's video is brought to you by Fume. Nice. I am such a fidgeter. I just can't sit still, and when I try to sit still, it makes it harder to focus. But luckily, Fume is here to help me swap out that bad habit for something else. Straight away, Fume is not a vape. No vapor, no nicotine, just flavor. Fume is an award-winning air device that delivers great taste without any harmful chemicals. Instead of inhaling vapor, you simply breathe in natural, non-toxic flavors with no downside. And it's amazing for oral fixations like I have. Not only is this device built to fidget with its magnetic locking and clicking adjustments, but with the Fume topper, it's great to chew on. So I'm able to keep my hands free and write a script or edit while I'm fidgeting with my mouth. Simple as that. Over 500,000 people have already added Fume to their daily routine, and I totally get why. It's simple, satisfying, and doesn't come with any of the downsides of smoking or vaping. And right now, if you order the Journey Pack with my code RYTOAST, you'll get a free Fume topper. So if you've been thinking about changing your habits, this is a perfect first step. Go to tryfume.com/rytoast or scan the QR code on screen to get yours today. Thanks again to Fume for sponsoring today's video. Alright, the bar's almost a third of the way there now. Good, because this floor is starting to give me the creeps. We didn't hear anything for a while after that, but in December, Help Wanted 2 got an update to tease the upcoming game, much like how Help Wanted 1 got a winter update that teased their upcoming release of Security Breach. Upon booting this update, Mystic Hippo will tell you there's something to find. When you go to the keypad and sister location and punch in 1979, you receive this white tiger plushie. It bears a striking resemblance to Tiger Rock, but Tiger Rock wouldn't be a character in 1979, so this is likely the plushie that eventually inspired the Mimic to create the Tiger Rock character. It's a whole thing. All that you need to know is that this matches up pretty well with the white tiger plushie that Edwin, the creator of the Mimic's son, David, owned. We also unlock the Mimic model in the gallery, the one wearing that stitched up costume from the end of Ruin. If you hit that costume with anything, the front doors open, revealing Jackie's box once again. If you crank it, you receive this empty jigsaw puzzle, and pieces are scattered throughout the entire game. Once you fill them out, the puzzle changes depending on whether or not you're wearing the mask, showing either this van or this manor/gift shop in front of a factory. Once you finish the puzzle, the things in the puzzle appear in the background, and you can go up and look at them. The back of the van opens to reveal the Mexis console and a keypad, and the mailbox of that manor has a code for the keypad. Punching it in, the Mexis entity appears, seems to go back into the console, and the van speeds away. The update then ends. This was and is all quite confusing, and I'm assuming it's going to remain confusing until Secret of the Mimic comes out. But there is still a lot of important information to glean from this. One, Jackie is way bigger than a lot of us thought. She is massive, like rivaling DJ Music Man levels of large. And there are a lot more connections to the book, namely that white tiger plushie and the manor/gift shop adjacent thing in front of a factory. In the story The Mimic, like I mentioned, Edwin's son David had a white tiger plushie, but also, like I mentioned, he lived in a warehouse. Not only that, but when he bought the warehouse, he bought a nearby Victorian-style manor that he planned to live in with his wife until she died. This seems to be that manor that's been since renovated and converted into a gift shop. And for a while, I honestly thought that was going to be the last big thing until the trailer, and it pretty much was, because soon after we got the Sony State of Play, and tucked inside was the full gameplay trailer for Secret of the Mimic. Now this trailer is dense, and it has so much information and gives us so many shots of this facility we'll be exploring. I actually made an entire video dedicated to digging into every detail I could from this trailer. You can find that right here because I'm not going to be as thorough right now. This is more an overview video. So some of the major points that we can glean from this trailer is confirmation that Edwin Murray is the character who owns this factory. We all had a feeling, but this is confirmation. Now, Fazbear claims that Edwin was making the Mimic for Fazbear and we're here to collect after he's gone missing. It's important to note that this is different from the story. In the story, Edwin made the Mimic for his own personal reasons, and Fazbear contracted him to make separate costumes. Now, to be fair, Fazbear, known liars, could be lying here. Fazbear very well could have contracted Edwin for something else entirely, and since he's missing, they're trying to collect his Mimic too. Who knows? Throughout the trailer, we see this helper terminal and this Fazwrench adjacent device that we use to access it. A device we learn later in this video is named a data diver. Jackie once again makes an appearance, clearly being worn by the Mimic, but we also see several other costumes throughout this trailer, many of them being directly mentioned in the story The Mimic, and many of them having those signature eyes showing that the Mimic is actively wearing them. The trailer also ends with this massive old-timey DJ Music Man, almost as if he's like a carnival barker. Now, there is a lot more packed into this trailer, but like I mentioned, this isn't the video to fully go over every detail from the trailer. If you want to watch it, I've already made it, the link is right here. So going chronologically, something else started right about now, but we'll get to that after this most important thing, which is the interview that Dawko had with Steel Wool. I want to say about a month ago, Evan Lampe, the creative director of Secret of the Mimic, had an interview with Dawko, and it's an amazing video, which you should watch fully on Dawko's channel. It's incredibly dense and has a lot of great information, not only about Secret of the Mimic, but sort of the creative process of Steel Wool in general. It's a really interesting interview. And furthermore, I'm not going to go over every single point in that interview, because I already did right here. Again, this is more of an overview video. So here are some major points from the interview that we got. We know that the game is launching as a regular flat game first and primarily. They pushed back the release of the VR version to focus and polish on this more important aspect of the game. They realized with Help Wanted 2 that it is super important that this version of the game is available at launch. Ideally both, but if it's VR only at launch, that locks out a huge amount of the community from being able to play it. Evan Lampe's estimation on how long the game takes is that one main playthrough takes about 8 to 10 hours, but trying to go for a 100% completion is closer to 15 to 20. And I just have to hope that going for all endings is closer to that 15, because that's what we're gonna do on that stream when we play the game when it comes out. As far as lore goes, he mentioned that if you've read the books, you don't know the full story, which does imply that the books are at least part of the full story. He goes on to mention that the game was developed alongside the Tales from the Pizzaplex books being written. And during the interview, we got 2 lore-relevant posters, but I'm going to save them for one specific section we are getting to soon. But like I mentioned, it's an amazing interview, and that's only barely scratching the surface of it. So go watch the full video, and then go watch my breakdown of it. And finally, Steel Wool has been winding up to this release 2 times a week, every week for like the past month, with Mimic Mondays, and I don't think there's a catchy trailer, like, subtitle for this, so, Murray Commercial Fridays. Essentially, every Monday on Twitter, Steel Wool had been posting some image related to the game, and I'm going to include those 2 images from the Dawko interview, as well as 2 additional images we just got from Dawko's charity livestream that Steel Wool shared with him. So I'll go over all these images, and then we'll talk about those Murray commercials. The very first one we got was this poster: "Watch your hands, limbs replaced at employee's expense." Now, this is probably nothing, right? This just kind of lines up with the typical FNAF, oh, we don't care about our workers, haha, kind of anti-capitalist narrative that's in most of the games, but some people have taken this as a hint towards our main character, which, to be fair, could be. We've seen nothing but gloved hands of our main character. And some people, which I think is a stretch, but it could be cool, are taking this poster as a very vague hint that at some point in the game we could lose a hand. Next, we got this Murray's Costume Manor order form. Now, this goes into some of the game descriptions we've gotten since then, which are important, but are not super like news. It's just like new information we got from the store listing that you can find at any time. But in those store listings, it confirmed that this manor is called Murray's Costume Manor, and we get a double up on that with this order form. That seems to be how Murray would make costumes for clients. Likely, Fazbear sent these in. This isn't super lore relevant, but the idea of somebody filling it out from Fazbear could be one of the biggest pieces of lore we've gotten in a long time. Imagine, like, Spring Bonnie is written on one of these forms. That'd be crazy. We next got this Murray's Costume Manor vacation request form, which, again, kind of lines up with the whole Fazbear, we don't care about our employees. Now, there is something very important to note here. This is a vacation request form, implying that this is a major company. As far as the story The Mimic goes, Murray's company is just kind of him making stuff. So I don't know who these employees would be. We do know that after the story The Mimic, at some point in the timeline, Murray had a new company, but not as early as 1979, as far as we're aware. So I'm very curious if this is after Fazbear took over and they kept the name, or what's going on with that. We then got this poster for Dolly the nurse, "Oh my, broken bits, we'll take care of them." This could be a hint to the fact that the Mimic is able to repair itself, as I'm sure all of Edwin's technology has some kind of Mimic programming inside of it, as we'll get into with the commercials. But it's also just a better shot of this elephant character and Dolly the nurse. Our most recent Mimic Monday was this poster, Swing Bee Honey. Now this, I guess, is confirming that this character's name is Swing Bee, and I guess there was a honey brand associated with the character? I don't know, but it's cool. Now, like I mentioned, we also got some images from the Dawko interview and charity livestream. The 2 images we got from the interview are lore-relevant posters. The first being, "Locked out, your data diver is the key." This is that tool I mentioned from the initial trailer. And we are right to point out that this looks like a Fazwrench. Evan Lampe himself pointed out that that is not an accident. There is some sort of connection here. I think it's likely, and it's leading us towards the idea that a lot of Fazbear technology was originally taken from Edwin and slightly changed, but we'll see that as we go on. And you know what? I gotta say this now. I'm gonna call my shot. This is not the video for this, but I just thought of it. I wonder if all of this is going to lead to the thing William is holding in this sprite is a Fazwrench. Because if this technology is this old and Fazbear has had it, it's notable that the Fazwrench we get in Ruin has the same code from the FNAF 3 minigames, meaning William might be associated with them. Could you imagine if the whole reveal is this isn't a hand crank, this is a Faz wrench? That'd be crazy. We also got this poster, Where Do You Belong? Your Data Diver Knows, with 6 different categories of employee: basic, security, repair, creator, admin, and executive. I think it's very likely, as do most people, that this is just kind of the security badge of the game. You know, your data diver will be leveled up as you go, which gives you more access to more parts of the building. Then as far as the 2 things we got in the charity livestream, the first one was this video of you being able to pet the Cleanovac, something that was a Murray creation we'll see very soon in the commercials. And look at this little guy, he is adorable. We also get a better look at our main character's hand, again, just a gloved hand. But looking in the background, this is the carpet from the initial teaser. And it seems like we're in some sort of receptionist area. I wouldn't doubt if this is literally the first room of the game. It would totally make sense if we walk into this open receptionist lobby and there's just a Cleanovac roaming around cleaning up the place. That seems totally likely. And then we got this pretty major reveal with this image. Instead of a digital helper console like we saw in the initial trailer, this seems to be more customer focused, something that would talk directly to them. A 3D version of Mr. Helper. Again, the helpy connections are insane here, with a toggle depending on how leveled up your data diver is and a push-to-talk button. This might be how we access several areas in this game. Speaking of, 2 of the areas in the background are the Big Top showroom and the birthday showroom. And very clearly, looking at these doors, the Big Top showroom is where that big music man would be found, and the birthday showroom is Jackie's area. You know, the first one literally looks like the music man guy, and the other one has Jackie's box and her arms going down the sides. Not to mention off to the side, what looks like a version of the Stay Up Latte. So, I've said Stay Up Latte, I've said Cleanovac. What are these commercials I keep talking about? Well, alongside the Mimic Monday images, every Friday at 1 p.m. every week for the past couple weeks, we've been getting a commercial from one of Murray Co.'s inventions. The first one was the Stay Up Latte. It was a coffee machine that would make your perfect latte for you, and in that video, there were several images of what I believe look like camera angles, FNAF 1 styled camera angles in the background. The next commercial was about Murray's Magic Coat Rack, a coat rack that could adjust to any shape to wear any accessory you need to hold. And in the background, there was some strange audio that it's really hard to make out, but at some point it sounds like someone says my leg. It's very difficult to make out, and I don't think anyone's been able to isolate that audio yet. Last week, we got Cleanovac, which seemed pretty straightforward until the end when we got this image of the poodle character. Now, the main takeaway from all these commercials is that all of these products not only clearly have the Mimic 1 program inside of them, but exhibit different aspects of the Mimic character from the books. The Stay Up Latte is stated to watch and learn from you, the coat rack is stated to be able to change its size to fit into anything, like the Mimic, and the Cleanovac is stated to be a friend for your kids forever, something that Edwin originally created the Mimic to do, be his son David's friend. Now again, I need to point out here, in the story The Mimic, Edwin thinks, man, I could make some money if I use this Mimic program and put it in different products. But before he's ever able to do that, David dies and he goes missing. He has a business way later in life, but if this is happening during and before Secret of the Mimic in 1979, this is a schism with the books, and it does not agree with what the books have set up. So that's something we're going to have to figure out. It's possible that these commercials are from after the game, and maybe Fazbear, after they collected the Mimic, tried to put it in different products and just pretended that it was from Murray Co. They didn't bother changing the branding. That's possible, but it doesn't seem like Edwin would do this later in life either, because Fazbear collects the Mimic in this game, so he wouldn't have access to it. I don't know. We'll find out, I'm sure, when the full game gets released next week on Friday. And I will say, I've lied to you. There's one commercial that I have not covered here, at least I'm assuming there is, and it came out about an hour before this video did. Every Friday at 1 p.m. one of these commercials come out, and I release videos at 2:15 p.m. on Friday. So I'm sure that one came out about an hour ago, and you should go check it out. I would have pushed this video to like 2:30 and 3 and included that commercial, but frankly, I'm a little busy. The Switch 2 came out on Thursday, yesterday, and today at 12, so probably while you're still watching this if you're within the first hour, and at 8 p.m. EST tonight, I'm hosting 2 separate Mario Kart World collab streams with a whole bunch of creators. Like, we're talking 10, and I think the other one has 16 at this point. So many people are going to be in this, so you're going to want to go check that out on my second channel, Rytoost, and also on twitch.tv/RytoastYT. But back to the matter at hand. I think it is noteworthy that all of these teasers launched at 1 p.m. Pairing that up with the fact that the PlayStation Store has an estimated release time of 1 p.m., I think it's very likely that Secret of the Mimic is going to come out at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Friday the 13th. And whether that's true or it gets released earlier, who knows? But when it comes out, you know I will be live on this channel and on Twitch playing through the entire game, and I cannot wait. But what are you most excited for about this game? Let me know in the comments below. And honestly, not gonna even direct you to another one of my videos. Go watch the live streams. I'll put the 8 p.m. one right here because I'm sure half of you guys are watching by like 5 and the noon one has already ended. So here's the 8 p.m. live stream. I'll see you there. If you want your fan art featured on the channel, make sure to share it with hashtag ToastArt. A huge thank you to the best channel members, the Dough Risers. And until next time, as always, stay toasty, slices.